Shooting deaths of student athletes on a college campus leaves the community reeling.
And in North Carolina, the governor forms a commission to study interference in university governance.
At Pembroke, the Braves football coach is out of a job as the season ends in a quintuple overtime thriller.
Donovan Fant will tell you about that later in the show. I'm Nay McInnes.
And I'm Chase Foster. And this is Carolina News Today.
The man who police say shot 3 people to death and wounded 2 others on the University of Virginia campus late Sunday remains in custody today. After an overnight manhunt, the university lifted its shelter-in-place order around 11 a.m. yesterday, but classes were canceled. Officials announced the arrest of former Cavaliers football player Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. Jones Jr. allegedly killed 3 current football players, one of them with North Carolina ties. Devin Chandler, who moved from Tennessee to Huntersville for his senior year of football at Huff High School, Sunday night's shooting happened on a bus of students in a campus parking lot garage. The bus had just returned from a field trip to Washington, D.C. to see a play.
A North Carolina police officer is being hailed as a hero after saving a family and 2 dogs from their burning building last week. Police now say the fire was intentionally set, and they have a possible suspect in the case. The Cornelius homeowners spoke to reporter Trish Wilford of WCCB about the terrifying moments when they were woken up Wednesday.
It was just before midnight Wednesday when the Sitnikovs heard someone pounding on their front door.
And he just was sleeping, and then bang, bang, bang on the door. Such a horrible and so strong. I got scared.
And the police officer said, "Everybody get out of the house, get out of the house."
The couple had no idea what was going on, but they obeyed the police officer, grabbed their 2 young sons, and ran out of the house. At first, they didn't even realize it was on fire.
I was cautious running, and then I saw a bay window reflecting the red, and I got it. It's fire.
A Cornelius police officer who just happened to be on routine patrol along Smith Circle noticed the house and the couple's car on fire and sprung into action, safely getting the family, including their 2 boys and 2 dogs, out of the house. Cornelius Limley firefighters snapped these photos of that massive blaze. The family says it started in the kids' playroom and quickly spread through the walls.
So all the smoke went right where they were sleeping.
The couple showed us the damage inside the house. They say the smoke detectors never went off because all the smoke was trapped inside the walls and the attic. Fire investigators wasted no time determining this fire was intentionally set. We asked the couple who would do this.
We cannot probably tell much because the police is doing their work.
So that means you have an idea?
We have an idea.
Tonight, the Sitnikovs are thankful to be alive, and they say one particular Cornelius police officer is their superhero.
Just that night, he saved only 4 lives, and he's still in duty. Who knows what he's going to do next?
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper has signed an executive order that establishes a commission to study how the UNC system is governed. There's been considerable controversy in recent years over leadership appointments in the system and over perceived meddling from the system's Board of Governors. This new Commission on the Future of Public Universities will be co-chaired by former system presidents Tom Ross and Margaret Spellings. The commission is expected to make a report in 8 months about best practices in the oversight of statewide public higher education. Reforms in North Carolina could follow.
Nationally, all eyes should be on which party will control the U.S. House of Representatives. The majority in the House is still up for grabs, although the U.S. Senate remains in control of the Democrats. Now that's a crucial victory for them in Nevada has been decided.
This is such a cause for a celebration.
A celebration indeed for Democrats, who will now retain control of the Senate on Capitol Hill. The critical win comes after Nevada Democratic incumbent Catherine Cortez Masto defeated Republican challenger Adam Laxalt after trailing him for days as votes were counted.
We've known this was going to be a tough campaign, but Like all of you, I'm a Nevadan, and I know what it takes to deliver for my home state.
We won because we had a really good agenda that we actually passed that helped the American people on things they cared about.
This should have been a huge red wave. It should have been one of the biggest red waves we've ever had because, the President Biden's approval rating was so low.
Democrats managed to hold at least 50 seats in the Senate. The victory comes as a major boost for President Joe Biden. Now the question remains, who will control the House? So far, Democrats hold 204 seats to Republicans' 211. The number needed to control the lower chamber is 218 seats.
Let's just get through the election, okay? They haven't won yet.
As I've said all along, it'd be perilously close. We can win it. Whether we're going to win it remains to be seen.
And we may not find out who wins the House for weeks. As the vote count continues in states like Arizona, California, and Oregon with a large share of mail-in ballots. I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
In Georgia, Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and his Republican challenger Herschel Walker are facing off again in a runoff election on December 6th because Georgia state law requires a candidate to gain more than 50% of the vote. Neither of them hit that threshold in their tight race because of a Libertarian candidate who captured 2%.
North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein has joined a coalition of 20 other attorneys general nationwide to fight a hiring practice known as no-poach agreements. Such agreements occur when business owners agree not to hire someone else's workers when they quit. Stein and the coalition filed a friend of the court brief last week in a federal case involving McDonald's. The company had franchise agreements in which owners agreed they would not hire workers who had left another McDonald's establishment within the last 6 months. Stein has previously reached settlements with Little Caesars, Burger King, Dunkin' Donuts, and others to end the use of no-poach agreements, which he says keeps wages and benefits low.
New laws in some states could help job seekers by forcing employers to advertise in good faith how much a job pays. Colorado already requires that. New York City just started, and a California law will take effect in January. CNN's Jen Sullivan tells us the changes could have ripple effect across the country.
Job hunting is getting a major upgrade. New laws are requiring employers to show pay ranges on job listings aimed at improving pay transparency.
This is huge. It should go further. It should be all jobs.
New York City is now requiring companies with 4 employees or more to show the money up front, listing the salary or hourly wage range for any job posting or promotion that can be performed in NYC. Meaning even if it's a remote job, employers must comply. Civil rights attorney Nancy Smith says wage transparency is a major step toward closing the wage pay gap in the U.S. and says the change will impact women and people of color the most.
94% of jobs have a wage pay gap. And still, in 2022, women make 83 cents on the dollar.
Colorado put a law like this on the books last year, and in California, a similar law goes into effect on January 1st for employers with at least 15 employees. Experts say the new laws will be far-reaching since they affect 2 of the most populous areas in the U.S., which have many remote workers. Experts saying existing employees will be able to use the laws as a bargaining tool and advocate for themselves if they're underpaid.
It's an inspiring time to look at the candidate behavior, and I think it's a frightening time for employers because many are not prepared for that power shift.
Meanwhile, a few other states like Rhode Island and Maryland have legislation that requires employers to provide salary ranges upon request.
Robeson County public school employees will get $1,000 bonuses, as announced at the Board of Education meeting on Thursday. All full-time or permanent employees who work at least 4 hours a day are eligible. The bonuses will be paid in $500 increments in December and June paychecks. Chairman John Simmons says it's a small token of appreciation for educators. The bonuses will cost the school system about $3.8 million and includes all teachers and staff who qualify. The funding comes from federal relief funds for elementary and secondary schools. It's the 3rd time the board has been able to award these emergency relief dollars that started during the pandemic.
UNC Pembroke will benefit from the multi-million-dollar settlement against Volkswagen. with a grant to add 2 more electric vehicle charging stations to the campus. This year, the German car manufacturer settled a case brought by the EPA after it was discovered their vehicles were equipped with software to trick emissions testing. 50 states are beneficiaries of the payout. In North Carolina, the Department of Environmental Quality has awarded more than $1 million to state agencies to install charging infrastructure for zero-emission vehicles. UNC will get nearly $38,000 to install 4 new Level 2 charging ports. There are currently 6 ports on campus in high demand, 2 of which serve only 1 vehicle at a time.
Last week, we told you that influenza A is trending high in campus, earlier than usual, and the Brave Health Center recommends vaccinations. This week, we're seeing about half of the country reporting high respiratory illness. 22 states, along with Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, are seeing cases of flu, RSV, and COVID-19. The number of people sick with the flu nearly doubled in last week of October. Cases jumped again in the first week of November. Influenza has caused about 1,300 deaths in the United States so far this season. Senior citizens are most at risk of fatal complications from the flu.
Finding a free COVID test may soon be a thing of the past. The U.S. has spent trillions of dollars during the pandemic, developing vaccines and providing free testing and treatment. That money is almost gone. What's left of the funding is expected to dry up early in the new year. The Biden administration has requested more COVID-19 funding to replenish supplies of tests and treatments, but Congress hasn't come up with any additional dollars. The nation's public health emergency declaration is set to end on January 12th. Many COVID-19 costs will be passed on to consumers, although the vaccines are expected to remain free of charge.
A multi-billionaire loses most of his wealth in a single day in the digital currency market.
And a deaf student joins his high school marching band.
Those stories and more when we come back.
One of the youngest graduates in the history of the University of North Carolina at Pembroke, Ethan Sanford earned a bachelor's degree in biology from UNC Pembroke in 2016 at the age of 19 and completed his PhD in biochemistry, molecular, and cell biology from Cornell this past May. He has received awards at both local and national conferences, including one at the National Gordon Conference on DNA repair in 2020. And recently began his professional career as a senior scientist at Q2 Solutions, a leading global clinical trial laboratory services company in New York.
I'll tell you, I'm so grateful that, UNCP has chosen to recognize me in this way. And I want to say I feel incredibly fortunate to have been selected for this award, because I know there was, a pool of eligible alumni to choose from. Just thinking about people that I graduated with, I know there's doctors, lawyers, business people, so very grateful to be recognized in this way.
A high school student in Virginia isn't letting anything get in the way of his dreams. The 17-year-old is on his school's marching band as the group's first deaf member. Here's the story from WJLA in Arlington.
It's Friday night football at Woodson High School in Fairfax County. And the marching band is gearing up for their final home game of the year.
They told me that they never seen people who is deaf in marching band.
By looking at the drum line, you would never know that one student here is deaf.
I'm deaf, so that I can't hear, but I can feel like it's vibrating. So that's why the bass is very loud, but you can feel it's vibrating, right?
The junior, Michael Gwynn, is the first deaf drummer on the school's marching band.
I'm just surprised, but I don't feel like special. I feel normal person, just like them.
Michael uses his cochlear implant, but he says it doesn't come without its challenges.
Every time when my battery dies and everything is like, it's all quiet, I can't hear anything. So it's really, really difficult to hear. But at least I can see the drum major.
At first, Michael used an American Sign Language interpreter, but now he no longer requires one for the game performances.
Being deaf, it doesn't mean you can't do anything. You can do anything, just try and see what's gonna happen. So just like I joined a marching band and never give up. So we're just like a normal person.
Michael says after high school, he may attend Gallaudet and try out for the Baltimore Ravens marching band.
Several students at a middle school in Missouri had to go to a hospital after eating marijuana edibles. The incident shines light on kids' curiosity and adults' role in educating them. Justina Cornell from KSDK in St. Louis reports.
Locally and nationwide, we have been seeing more kids either accidentally or intentionally ingesting edibles.
The nonprofit Prevent Ed has been seeing this problem grow.
Kids are curious. Not all kids even know what it is that they're doing.
Northside Community School in Midtown St. Louis is now dealing with that scenario.
A couple of students who brought to school some candy edibles, and they were giving those to other kids.
The school's executive director says 2 8th graders shared the cannabis-infused candies with other classmates Thursday.
6 students in all, 3 went to the hospital. All 3 of them were doing fine. The students who had brought the edibles, we referred them to law enforcement.
School officials believe this is connected to curiosity, especially after Amendment 3 passing this week, which legalizes recreational marijuana use in Missouri for adults.
That maybe sparked some interest. In what is this that's passed and people are talking about and celebrating about. So we think it had a lot to do with that, a lot of curiosity.
When you're dealing with kids who might be making some rash decisions because their brains still aren't fully developed, then that's just sort of a perfect storm for something like what happened yesterday.
Prevent Ed works with more than 200 schools educating families on topics just like these ones.
How can caregivers, how can family members talk to their kids early? We suggest early and often. Who is allowed to give you medicine? If you see something that you don't know what it is, what should you do?
The organization's executive director and school officials believe this could be an opportunity to learn an important lesson.
Whether they knew or did not know, that's where the role of parents and the community come in to make sure that our kids are really educated.
He's being called the Bernie Madoff of crypto. Sam Bankman-Fried, the CEO of one of the largest digital currency exchanges in the world. He lost most of his wealth in a single day last week, and his company, known as FTX, has imploded. Here's more from CNN News Source.
In a matter of days, FTX, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world, filed for bankruptcy. The company's 30-year-old CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, resigned, and his $16 billion fortune erased. Bloomberg has called his meteoric fall from grace one of history's greatest ever destructions of wealth. Bankman-Fried has publicly apologized. "I'm piecing together all the details, but I was shocked to see things unravel the way they did earlier this week," he wrote on Twitter. Now, allegations of mishandling of customer funds have emerged. 2 sources familiar with the matter told Reuters at least $1 billion in customer funds have vanished. Bankman-Fried secretly transferred $10 billion of customer funds from FTX to his trading company Alameda Research, the sources told Reuters.
In some ways, this collapse of FTX is the Lehman Brothers moment of the crypto world. It is a classic financial crisis.
The downfall of the crypto exchange began earlier this month when serious questions were raised about the financial health of the company. Those questions caused many customers to cash out. Then, a failed merger between FTX and its rival platform Binance caused more strain on FTX. Binance backed out of its plans to acquire the company, saying its problems were beyond our control or ability to help. The Justice Department and SEC are launching probes into FTX. The company, which is headquartered in the Bahamas, is also being investigated by Bahamian authorities over potential criminal misconduct, and the White House addressing the need for oversight.
Without proper oversight, cryptocurrencies, it risks harming everyday Americans. But the most recent news further underscores these concerns and highlights why prudent regulation of cryptocurrencies is indeed needed.
At its peak, the crypto exchange was worth $32 billion and benefited from superstar endorsements from Tom Brady, Gisele Bündchen, Naomi Osaka, and Steph Curry.
I'm not an expert, and I don't need to be. With FTX, I have everything I need to buy, sell, and trade crypto safely.
The NBA's Miami Heat had its venue renamed as FTX Arena just last year, but now that name's coming off the building. It even ran an ad during this year's Super Bowl featuring Larry David.
I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff.
Thanksgiving travel seems right around the corner. The travel app called Hopper predicts that 70% of Americans will be leaving home or heading home to spend the holiday with family or friends. According to their findings, the busiest airport will be Hartsfield Jackson International in Atlanta, followed by Dallas Fort Worth. Others in the top 10 busiest airports for Thanksgiving are Denver, JFK in New York City, and LAX in Los Angeles. About 3.3 million people will hit the road on Sunday. But Brave Nation, beware, school is still in session in Pembroke until Tuesday night.
Coming up, Braves football sends fans into a frenzy during a season-ending thriller at home.
And Braves volleyball quenches a 30-year drought with a victory Sunday.
While Braves basketball runs hot and cold over the weekend.
CNT Sports is up next.
What's up, Brave Nation? I'm Donovan Fant. Let me tell you what's been going on around here. On Thursday, Braves soccer took on Flagler College in the opening round of the NCAA Division II tournament. The only goal in the match came from Flagler in the 30th minute, and the Saints held on to defeat the Braves 1-0. This loss moves the Braves to a 2-6 overall in postseason tournament play. They were knocked out in the same round last year by the same school. Now the ladies can focus on their classes for the rest of the semester and look forward to their conference championship rings. On Sunday, the Braves sent 4 wrestlers to Charleston, South Carolina to compete in the Citadel Open. Freshman Nigel Williams grappled his way to a 4th-place finish in the 197-pound division after collecting a couple of decision victories. The Braves also sent 3 unattached wrestlers to Emmanuel College to compete in the Georgia Open. Redshirt freshman Brandon Smith split his 4 matches in the 141-pound division, while sophomore Chance Cottenham registered a pair of pins at 133 pounds before leaving the tournament with an injury. On Sunday, Braves volleyball took on Emmanuel College with the Conference Carolinas Championship on the line. Being lofted by a 19-kill performance from tournament MVP Vanya Perzul and 14 kills from all-tournament player Shannon Scrid, the Braves defeated the Lions 3-1. This is the second Conference Carolinas Championship for the program, if you go all the way back to a version of the conference in 1991. And it's the program's first conference championship since 1993, when they moved to the Peach Belt Conference. After Sunday's final, Coach Welley said all the players brought into her coaching efforts 100% since she started at Pembroke last year.
I couldn't be more thankful for that, and I tell people coming in all the time, I was absolutely blessed with this group that came in and just bought into what I wanted a program to be, what I envisioned it to be, and to foresee it, in year 2 is amazing. Credit to them. They work hard. They give when I ask, and they're great teammates. They're really great teammates on and off the court, so they've got that special bond that just makes my job really easy.
The Braves men's basketball team opened their season playing host for the 2022 Conference Challenge. On Saturday, the Braves took on Newberry College in an evenly matched game. Both teams shot 45% from the field and 25% from beyond the arc. A late field goal from the Wolves sent the game into overtime, where the Braves managed to pull away decisively, winning the game 74-66. 5 players scored double-digit points to help the Braves secure the victory. On Sunday, the men took on Catawba in another close matchup. The Braves shot 53% from the field, 43% from the 3, and 70% from the free throw line. But the biggest shot came from sophomore Javante Waverly, who made the go-ahead jumper with 2 minutes left to play. Waverly had 11 points total and was one of 4 Braves with double-digit points. After the game, Coach Drew Richards said he hopes they can take some important insights with them on the road.
Fayetteville State is a tough place to play. I mean, I was telling the guys in the locker room, it's one of the toughest environments you can play. And then going down to see a Columbus State team that's an perennial NCAA tournament power. So it's not an easy next couple games, but I'm hoping that the lessons we learned from our last 2 games, like I talked about before, we can grow from them, we can improve, and then we can go into a tough environment like Fayetteville State and be able to show that growth, show or not show that growth.
On the women's side, the Braves got off to a slow start, beginning the season 0-2 after dropping both their games in the Conference Challenge, hosted by Wingate University over the weekend. They lost to Coker University 63-51 on Friday and followed up with a loss to Wingate Saturday, so close, 55-54. The Braves look to bounce back in their home opener tomorrow night when they take on Fayetteville State. Tip-offs at 6 p.m. Braves football took on Concord University in UNCP's final game of the year, coming up just short, losing 56-58. It was a hard-fought battle there at the end when they went into quintuple overtime. That's 5, folks. In his final game representing the black and gold, senior quarterback Josh Jones recorded a career-high and single-game school record 459 yards through the air. He tacked on 29 yards on the ground. Jones helped the Braves come back from multiple double-digit deficits on the night, accounting for 5 of the 6 Braves touchdowns. The very next day, UNCP announced they were parting ways with not just the graduating seniors, but with head coach Shane Richardson as well. He told the Robesonian newspaper that he knew a week ago his contract would not be renewed. Here he is on the field with his team after the game. Richardson has been with the program since it started 17 years ago, first as defensive coordinator under head coach Pete Shinnick, who left after the 2013 season. Braves Wrestling will be back in action tonight as they host Limestone University for Superhero and Youth Night in the Jones Center. Volleyball prepares to face Augusta University in the opening round of the NCAA Division II tournament on Friday. It's their first postseason NCAA appearance in program history. Good luck, ladies. I'm Don, and I'm gone. Back to the studio.
Thanks for that roundup, Donovan. What a weekend for Braves athletics.
That's all we've got time for. Thanks for watching. I'm Nay McKinnis.
And I'm Chase Foster. See you next week.